I guess I want to speak spontaneously tonight. That's all right. This talk tonight was inspired by my January 1 talk. January 1 is the first day of the year, but it's much more than that. It sets the tone for the rest of the year. It also sets tones for the new millennium, which was January 1 of 1999, which happened to be all about the fact that we are moving into a positive millennium to the nth degree. The Aquarian Age began January 1 of 2008. For 2,000 years. That vibrates to the light of the world. And each person in this room is the light of the world. Now, we are also involved in another energy, which is on the inner planes and the outer planes. The world sun. You are the world sun. And now you know. And every day we are inspired to send light and love to the earth. But first of all, we must go to the world, which is the mind of the earth, to send that energy. And that is basically our responsibility. And on January 1, the energy that came through was, may Christ return to earth. Wow. It's finally here. All this year, there's a big door open for the Christ return within you. That's why we are here, to become Christ conscious. And Christ consciousness is not a person. It's a consciousness. Jesus was the greatest one, but there were Christs before him. In Atlantis, in Greece. A lot of them are unknown. But then Jesus brought it all into fruition to the highest degree. Now it's our turn. You see, he empowered the disciples. And he said, don't you know that ye are gods? We're not told about that. The disciples said, oh, it can't be us. We're imperfect. You're the perfect one. And they probably didn't believe it either. But now it's our opportunity, you see, to become a Christ conscious being. Now what's interesting about Christ consciousness is it is a graduation from the earth plane. But while we're here to set the tone for this new age, we are here to create energy that's going to bring forth this energy. Now the thing we're dealing here with is the fact we as individuals are imperfect. And Christ is supposed to be perfect. Not the case. We are all imperfect. And we have to recognize we are imperfect. And that's okay. Because this earth plane is tough, challenging. And as a result of being tough and challenging, we have to accept ourselves and love ourselves more. That's the first requirement of Christ consciousness. We don't love ourselves enough. We go back in the past. We all do. If I only wouldn't have married him. Why did I take that job that I was corporation downsized? I made all those mistakes. We go back. And tonight, let's release it. Just release your past, just like that. Nobody can change the past. All we can do is change it. And we have the power to forgive the entire past, not only this lifetime, but all lifetimes. We're here to forgive ourselves unconditionally and wake up every day to say, greatest day ever. And you attract, with those words, that energy. You are a powerful being. More powerful you can possibly imagine. You are not aware of the fact that you are pure light. Thank you, Diane. Thank you, Nancy, for that beautiful reading. You are divine, powerful light. But notice this earth plane is half dark and half light. Home, it's all light. This is not our home. This is a little school. Easy, isn't it? Easy life. All raise your hand if they hear easy life. They can't do it. Tough, challenging, a school of mastery, a school of becoming Christ. Wow. You know, it's really interesting. In the name Christ, there's only one vowel. It's I. You know what I means? Altruism, selfless, compassionate, unconditional giving. And guess what we call ourselves? I. Interesting. When you have an I in your name, you've been very altruistic and very selfless and very compassionate in past lives. But interesting, everybody on this planet calls themselves I. And what does it mean? Altruistic compassion. Thinking of the benefit of others. Always others first. So automatically, we got one step in the right direction. But we believe that mistakes that we made are going to prevent us becoming Christ conscious. Wrong. No matter where we are, we have the opportunity to do two things. Think big. Oh yes, the word power. It's quite interesting. That P in power, you know what that means? I will. You know what will means? Light. So when you say I will, you automatically take in the light of the world by just saying I will. This is all the secret language. And that double L in will. That's all about that power of that energy of light. All we have to do is state it, and it is. See, what you're not aware of, you're a co-creator. Oh yeah. That's what you're here to do. A co-creator. Jesus was right when he told his disciples that. They didn't believe him. I want you to think about that. That we are here to co-create. There's only three astrological signs you can do this in. One's Gemini, the other is Libra, and the other one is Aquarius. And we're in the age of Aquarius. And that Aquarius sign is a mind age. That's why the P in power means the power of the mind to create. And by the way, you know what power vibrates to? Christ. Oh, that's a coincidence too, isn't it? And the motivation of power is all feminine. I know, guys, you've got that heart energy too. But isn't it interesting that the motivation of power is the feminine? That we have the power to recreate with the feminine energy, unconditional love. And with that unconditional love, it is a substance that goes into the universe, into the mind of the ages, the world, to create whatever we want. And this year, it's wide open. Do you ever wonder why Jesus had 12 disciples? Well, he had 12 more. There were 12 male disciples and 12 female disciples. How many knew that? Yeah, I found that out when I went to Greece in 1993. Yeah, I found out he married Mary Magdalene, had children, and she was in charge of the other 11 ladies. He was the 1-12-12 principle. And then, when he was ready to pass on to the next Messiah, He and Joseph Arimathea went to England, planted a tree in Glastonbury. I've been there several times when I was on travel business. Went to King Arthur's Castle and went into the whole energy field. 1, 12, 12. And you know what? Those great ones that lived before us did it for us to show what we must do. You, you are also 1, 12, 12. Mm-hmm. Because you have, knowingly and probably unknowingly, 24 people that have affected you in this lifetime. As a small child, your mother, your father, your brothers, your sisters, your school teachers, your friends. In high school, you attracted people. We always get what we attract. We attract what we are. And they represented people who taught us something, put us through challenges. Then in our young adulthood, we may have got married and had children. We have also dealing with people in your business, where you work, are all mirrors of you in your other lifetime if you're emotionally attached. So you were just like your boss, just like the people you work next to. So everybody has 24 disciples, symbolically. Now, not disciples, but they're teaching us something. Because the law of attraction through magnetism and mirrors draws us to those situations for us to learn by. Because I've said many times, we're all reliving our past lives simultaneously. Oh yes. What are you emotionally attached to? In a positive way or a negative way? That's you. I'm back and I was just like you. See why we think we aren't perfect? That family of yours? Perfect, isn't it? Perfect family? Want to raise your hand, please? One, there's one back there. That's the first one I've seen in all the lectures I've given. Just like your father, just like your brother, just like your mother and sister, just like your brothers and sisters, aunts, uncles, grandfather, grandmother. Wow. Isn't the mirror wonderful? And look at all the wonderful people you attract in your life too. Because you have the power to change the family lineage now. I know my folks are waiting on the other side. You can see your parents were your children in another lifetime. The way they treated you is the way you treated them. So mom and dad are waiting. So what do I have to do? I want you to do this too. I want you to go into meditation. Seat your mom and dad right across from you. I want you to look at mom and dad and what you say in your mind's eye, here are the negative aspects of mom and the positive aspects of mom. And thank her for being a wonderful mother or otherwise. And the same thing with dad. And then you forgive your parents for the negative things that they represent and symbolize, and don't become like that, and forgive them automatically, and embrace the positive aspects of them. And you know what that does? When you forgive your parents, it creates a new family lineage. That's the power you have. And remember, you are a beautiful light pebble. And when that pebble falls in the water, it creates ripples into all levels of creation. That's your power. That's how much power you have. But of course, the key to it is humility, love, and service. So here you have all this power. And you are here to be a co-creator. Every day is a birthday and a conception day. So you sit and pray for the homeless to find homes, hungry to find food, sick and injured to be healed, or peace, or unity, or sharing, or prosperity. Pray for the politicians to realize that all nations are their brothers and sisters. And so forth. Every day, every day, every day. And when we incarnate, the earth is a different place. Because you, Christ, recognizes who you were. You thought big enough to include the big family of all humanity. Oh yeah, that's our family too. We live in different countries. We spoke in different languages. We have been everything and everywhere. You know that little W in power? You know what that means? I am that I am. Moses said it. Think of that little word called P-O-W-E-R. And that R at the end is the mirror that attracts everything to you in this lifetime. And this is why you chose this time, at the Aquarian age, to come in and be a co-creator. To plant seeds for the future of all humanity. Because that family of yours is huge. Now, of course, self-mastery is part of it, of course. I haven't talked about that much. Oh yes, you're the master of this. But one thing you can do to make sure you do it and master your physical body is set a goal. Establish I will and do it to the letter. And if you don't happen to fulfill it, all you have to do is forgive yourself, pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and start all over again. Until that habit is so powerful and so strong, you will do it in spite of everything that happens around you prevents you from doing it. So the power of a Christ, the power of being a Christ. One thing you really watch when you're Christ conscious is that first letter of C. Communication. Because everything you say comes back to you. It all vibrates back to you. How do you know so much about that person? Be there for everybody unconditionally. No matter what they've done to you, you be there for them. Just like Jesus said, forgive him, Father, he knows not what he does. Every person, put in that encapsulation. And what you'll gain from this is, I did it. I forgave myself. I'm feeling self-respect. And you will say, no matter what I've done in my past, I started, I walked that mile a day, whatever you say you're going to do it to the letter. And that's self-respect, and you'll say, yes, I deserve to be a Christ. But you'll never, a Christ will never tell you that they are a Christ. Can you imagine somebody going to you, by the way, no. It's humility is the foundation of all of it. And that foundation, and start today. Because the door is open. The entire year is open for us, and the year after too. But how about, may Christ return to earth on January 1 of 2014. And we are here at this particular point in time to become that Christed being and be the co-creator that we came to be, imperfect as we are. Thank you for coming tonight. Thanks for sharing this St. Patrick's Day. Green of the heart. Green, the center of our cross, the creation of our pyramid. We also are the Star of David. So our prayers are not only affect us, they affect the politicians, great people that are in charge of countries, and our prayers go from here to here. We have the pyramid, we have the Star of David, we have all the power within. And we got this feminine heart to create a new earth as a co-creator. God bless.